All right, what a week, huh? We got you can see now that the ES is still at the highs. It closed very, very high today, very strong, looking to take out these highs. Again, if you're not in the trade, don't beat yourself up, dude. There was bipolar daily, so you had it, they have defended and respected this 2080 area and didn't, once they got above that 2105, 2110 area, I want to see a couple closes above it. So I'm not going to go long tomorrow anything. I want to see the setup go from there. And again, I have no problem saying I was in the chop just sitting on my hands. So you have the NQ as well, same thing. Again, it gave a minor sell signal today. It probably was was an overnight session and really ramped up. Again, we want this volume to come back up, and it's would be approaching these new highs, still holding this area. But again, this is a very difficult trading pattern to look and say. I mean, again, you always have the hindsight traders. Trading is the easiest thing in the world. Hindsight, I tell you that. Why don't you buy here? Why don't you buy here? Why don't you sell here? Why don't you sell here? This was obvious. This was obvious. Why didn't you buy here? That's not, you can't do that to yourself. It's just, you got to live in the moment. And right now, the moment said, listen, you know what? I'm going to stay my behind on the sidelines. Let somebody else get chopped up, because I guarantee there was a ton of people that got chopped up picking sides. So they're continuing to go higher here, looking to take out new highs tomorrow. Potentially, I again will want to set up to formulate properly versus just looking and say, okay, it's in, because it won't take much. And let me tell you, it won't take much to squeeze them if they even drop it back down a little bit. So, and again, you can see that the small caps are still in that range per se. So again, we got to get out of this range, and you have the higher lows in place, but you can still see the range. And again, it's barely above this high. So let's see it come up and give us some type of really, really good retracement to work on. We got bonds. Bonds actually quieted down a little bit. They were breaking down really hard before. You got crude. Crude is still in a sell signal, giving a lower high. Hold on, let me change this symbol. I gotta change my symbol in e-signal. So you still see the lower highs are in place. So the breaking point for the bulls is at 58. The breaking point for the bears is 62.5. So right in the middle, but we are having a lower high currently. But again, you can still see that this uptrend. But again, if it breaks this area, you definitely would wait for some type of pullback and shoot to the downside if you're not short already. Let's look at some names. You can see that Apple definitely perked up today. Still in a sideways trading range, but in a much better situation than potentially if it broke this low and flushed down. But it's still not out the woods yet. You still see we're still in very, very sideways action, and we want to see some more rising volume as well. We have price line that we're looking at as well. That again, it really didn't do much. So again, price line is something that I would look at and say, shoot, if they broke below these lows, it might be something potentially to look at as short. I mean, the volume is dry as hell, but I would just wait and see what happens tomorrow. You had Netflix. Oops. Why am I fat? My fingers are crazy fat today. Netflix continuing to go higher, volume anemic, but again, price action is still staying to the bull side. So you have to respect that. You have Tesla. Tesla is just holding these highs. Again, the resistance around this 250 area. If it breaks that 250 area clean, we definitely are coming back up to this 259 area. But we have to see what's going on. The sell signal is very light, but it's still a legit sell signal today. And then again, the break above this 250 area is where we would be looking to say, okay, the line in the sand has been drawn. Google gave a little bit of volume, but it's still sideways. So again, we want to see how much this is going to retrace, because again, if it just retraces up to like this 560 area with these lower highs in place clearly, that would give you a pivot. That would give you a low. So let's see what the volume looks like here. Again, they fill the gap on the sell signal, but we still don't see much conviction out of them regarding that name as well. And I think I did Tesla already. Oil. Okay, I'll just end it from here. I don't want to rant any longer. But again, we see that. And again, don't beat yourself up. That's one thing you should not do, because if it's a choppy situation, you don't know where to go, just stay on the sidelines. And it's as simple as that. It's not, people will say, oh, you'll get a ton of people on Twitter or everywhere that be like, dude, this is a classic. No, it's not classic. This is a very sideways position coming from another sideways churning type of pattern right back into these lows. It's barely above these highs as it is. So if they break below this 2085 area, 2080 level, we're right back in the shit again. So we'll see what happens again tomorrow, and if they have some follow through, because we don't know who they're going to crush tomorrow. It looks like they're going to be crushing the weekly puts, but if they just float it or they come down a little bit, they probably could crush both of them. So again, it's better to say, let some stuff set up and go from there, versus saying I want to chase. Don't be the guy that is going long right here because they're like, oh, I'm breaking out, and then they basically break it down to like 2108, and he's like, the market's rigged. No, the market's not rigged. You're just chasing. Wait for a proper setup. Take care.